Hello everybody, my name is Mark and I'm one of the principal scientists here at Cambridge Sensortech. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to our new range of Rapidox gas analysers, which are based on optical measurement of oxygen. The optical sensors that we use have got quite a few advantages over our traditional zirconia sensors that we've sold for 25 years here. One of the main advantage for using this type of sensor is that you can work with more complicated gases such as flammable gases, gases with solvents and VOCs. Also helium as well is very good with these gas analyzers. So the Rapidox 1100 that you see here is a product that we've sold for many years using the zirconia sensor, and this new range incorporates the optical sensor inside the analyzer, and I'm going to go through some of the technical features of what the machine does with you in this video. So let's crack on with the video, and I'll switch the machine on now and we'll see what it does. So it's very simple. We connect it to the mains electricity and switch the unit on. And there's a boot up sequence on the OLED display, which just takes a moment to warm up. It's very fast warming up this machine. Now on this display there's 4 lines. On the top line we read the oxygen level, the second line we read the pressure, which is the atmospheric pressure, so that is absolute pressure, and in this case it's 1006 millibars, which is quite typical for Cambridgeshire at this time of year. And then there's a balance gas, which is the difference between the oxygen reading and 100%. So in this case it reads 79%, which indicates it's nitrogen and CO2. Now the label of this can actually be changed in the menu. So for example, if you're working with argon and oxygen, you can change the label to display the letter AR, the letters AR to indicate argon. And finally, the bottom display is the date and the time. Again, all the lines on the display are quite configurable in the menu, so you can remove lines or display different things on each line. Now inside the pump, inside the analyzer, sorry, there is a pump, and this is used to suck the gas from your location where you want to measure into the analyzer, through the analyzer via a few filters, and the gas is then sent out again through the outlet on the back panel or the front panel. The speed of the pump is user settable between 0 and 100%, and the pump can also be switched off. Now on front loading machines there is also an additional on-off switch on the back panel, which you can then switch it on and off with your fingers. The panel mount versions and the rear mount versions do not have this facility because it's envisaged that people would only use it from the front. Now at the moment I'm reading just under 21%, which is good to know because we're in fresh air here. I'll just quickly go and show you a few features in the menu. So there is a calibration function. We can set alarms, which is what the set point is when the alarm goes off. And the alarms have a mechanical buzzer, so there's an audible sound when the alarm goes off, and also the contacts on the rear will either open or close depending on how you have configured them. You can also configure the analog outputs. The analog outputs have a setting between 0 volts and 10 volts, which is 4 to 20 milliamps as well, and so we can set the lower point and the upper point. So for example, we might want to set the 4 milliamps to 0 volts to 0% oxygen, and the 20 milliamps via 10 volts over to 100% oxygen. And that's all configurable in this menu. The units can be changed, so this is things like the pressure unit can be changed from millibar, bar, kilopascals, pounds per square inch. I think the factory default is millibar. We can also change things like Celsius, Fahrenheit. The oxygen display can be changed from percent to ppm, or even an automatic mixture of the two, which I think is the factory default on this machine. And the display can be figured, so for example, if you didn't want to see the date and time on the screen, you can actually remove it. If you don't want to watch the pressure on the screen, you can remove that. And I also said that we can change the balanced gas reading to one of several markers, such as balance, argon, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and helium. The pressure mode is quite important. Now, the default is that the pressure correction mode is switched on, which means it's set to automatic, and that's how all these machines leave the factory. It is possible to switch the pressure correction off. So optical gas sensors, like any other gas sensor, are partial pressure sensors, and so they are sensitive to changes in pressure. So the pressure correction mode will automatically adjust for changes in the gas pressure inside the analyzer and give you a corrected pressure reading to 1 bar atmospheric pressure. The communications configuration is to do with setting whether you want Rapidox protocol or Modbus protocol. The slight difference is that Modbus, you have to set the baud rate, and you've got to set whether it's an addressable language. So you can have, if you have multiple gas analyzers on the same PC, you can address each one individually. So you, for example, could call this machine number 1, this one machine number 2, this one machine number 3, and the software would then talk to each analyzer and know which one it was talking to. Date and time. Now, the date and time is set automatically every time you connect to Windows PC software to this, which we supply with every instrument. And if you haven't got that connected, then you can set the time automatically inside the analyzer itself, or manually using the adjustments. If anything goes terribly wrong with any of our analyzers, there is a load default setting, which is normally password protected, because it does reset the analyzer back to factory configuration in case anything's gone wrong with the settings. And finally, we have a password menu system which allows you to enable a password. You can set it to various important menu settings and allow people to use the not so important settings, or you can have a password that prevents anybody from accessing the menu at all. It's a 4-digit number. And finally, the analyzer has quite an important feature, which is system information. This gives you an indication of how many hours the sensor has been running for, how long it is for calibration, and whether the sensor needs to be exchanged or not. It also gives us calibration values that, in case the end user has already calibrated it and made a mistake or something, it is possible to use this information to check whether or not the calibration is sensible, for example. And that's all the menu features. Most of the menus have quite a lot of sub-menus, so I'm not going to go into it any further than just to give you the overall titles of what the analyzer's got in this. I will show you the pump running though. So at the moment the pump is switched off. It is operated through the menu screen. So I'm going to go down to menu number 9, which says set pump flow. I press enter, it says the pump is off. If I use the up arrow, I can increase it in steps of 10%. And when the pump's running at full power, it's actually quite noisy. So the gas is now being sucked through the analyzer and sampling. And once I've got the setting I want, 40% in this case, I press enter and it gives me a message that it's been set. I press escape and we're now running the analyzer with the pump flowing. And I've covered all the basics of the machine and the ranges that it will measure and the sensor types. The optical sensors are based on a fluorescent dye that's sensitive to the level of oxygen, and they're very long lasting, and they have very good stability and very, very low drift. So they've got many advantages over other sensor technologies such as electrochemical sensors. They are more expensive than electrochemical sensors, but the overall cost of ownership over, say, 5 years, because electrochemical sensors do need to be replaced quite regularly, is actually more favourable for the optical sensor choice. So at the end of the video next, I'm going to just talk about a few accessories that we supply with these machines, and then we'll wrap up there. Okay. To complete the video, I'm just going to go through a couple of ideas for the sensor accessories that we can sell with these types of gas analyzers. Every Rapidox that we supply, including the optical family, comes with a full Windows data logging software included, and you can also use this to program different settings remotely from a PC, so it's a true remote access. And with the Ethernet option, you don't even need to be in the same room, you can do it via IP address as well. We do supply special USB RS232 serial adapters, such as this. They're quite inexpensive, but it's very important that we use the correct type. This one is an FTDI chipset, which we find is the most reliable one for good quality connections to laptop computers and PCs. Next, for people who like to have a physical memory of the readings, if you haven't got a data logger running, we do have a set of printers available. These do connect into the serial port on the back, and then there is a button on here, the right arrow key has the word print on there. If you ever want to take a printout of the display that you see there, you press print and it will come out automatically onto the thermal paper. It's just standard credit card type machine thermal paper, and we do offer battery powered versions as well as mains powered versions of the printer. Most importantly, really, next are filters, and we have a lot of filters for many different applications. These are just a couple of examples here. So this is an example of a filter set, actually, as you can see, with a stainless steel bracket held together. This filter set is used primarily in quite dirty applications where the gas has got a lot of things like solder flux residue or things like that in it, and particles. So it's a combination of a standard particle filter. The middle filter is actually a PTFE filter for removing flux vapors and things. And then finally we have a carbon trap filter, which is to remove VOCs, volatile organics, solvents and things like that. It's just really good housekeeping to keep the analyzer nice and clean. There are internal filters as well, but this is an external filter that is designed to give you primary protection against nasties in your gas. It can be mounted on the wall, and the filters will slowly change colour as they soak up particles and dust and dirt. And the internal sections here, we do sell these as a separate item that you can replace without having to replace the entire filter housing. Now, we also do these in stainless steel, which are more expensive, but we have got stainless steel choices in these, and we've also got versions for protecting you against water ingress, so water protectors which have got a one-way valve, like an upside down cone, to stop if water is frequently getting into your pipes. It will stop any liquid water getting into the analyzer and damaging it. So there's quite a lot of choice in our catalogue. Another common one is this filter, which is excuse me, this is a membrane filter, it removes liquid water vapor from the gas stream. So this stainless steel housing here has a sort of like a Gore-Tex type membrane inside it, which prevents liquid water drops from getting through into the analyzer. They are diverted via a drain, which is on the bottom here, and there's an additional particle filter on here to make sure that this does not get clogged up with particles. So these are really only used with people who've got quite high levels of moisture in their gas condensing out, and we've got a risk of getting water inside the analyzer. So that's really just an example of some of the accessories. There are other things, like we have a carry suitcase. We also have a swing handle, which is in our catalogue, which it fits onto the metal here and allows you to have a carry handle instead of this handle here. That's another option that we do as well. And that's all the accessories that I want to talk about right now. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video with me. I hope you've enjoyed learning a few things about our new gas analyzer range of optical sensors that fits in with our existing Rapidox 1100 Z and other gas types that we've been making for many years. So if you've got any additional questions, please do feel free to contact the sales team or the technical team here at Cambridge Sensor Tech, or the contact details are on our website, which is www.cambridge-sensortech.co.uk. Many thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.